This show is produced by the Harwood Podcast Network.
Hey there, I'm Cameron Harris. We love making this show available to you free of charge, and you can help keep it that way by making a contribution to our Karma Jar or by becoming one of our sponsors. To learn more, visit our website. Hey there guys, and welcome back to another episode of Series Geek. I'm Cameron Harris, and we're back ready to fill you in with all the latest tech news. Here's the news for February 2011. Starting off with what is easily the biggest story we've seen in a long time, iPhone lovers everywhere were overjoyed to hear that the iPhone will no longer be available exclusively through AT&T. Rather, Apple will be in dual partnership with both AT&T and now Verizon. Now, the AT&T has been the only carrier to have the iPhone in the US since launch, but a lot of people prefer the Verizon network because of their call quality. Now, Verizon's going to be getting pretty much the same model of iPhone that AT&T has, the iPhone 4. Now, although they might appear to be identical, the same Retina display, the same fast processor, and the same front and rear-facing camera, there are a few subtle differences on the inside of the Verizon phone. Specifically, because Verizon uses a different cell technology, CDMA, than AT&T, who uses GSM, they had to have a different antenna built into the phone. On the surface, there doesn't seem to be any difference, but there is a little bit of a difference cosmetically. Specifically, the mute switch on the iPhone has been shifted slightly for the Verizon version to make room for the new antenna. Now, that means that quite a few cases that are available now for the iPhone 4 won't fit, although the ones that Apple provides, their bumpers, do work. Now, a lot of people have been saying that Verizon's network is far superior to AT&T's, but that's not always the case. It's true that Verizon's call quality is much better and that Verizon drops calls much less than AT&T does, but when it comes to data, Verizon's coverage is a little bit spotty and much slower than AT&T's data. Now, this could be a bit of a trade-off for people, but if you're the kind of person that relies more on phone calls than data, that might be worth the switch to you. The Verizon version of the iPhone is in stores now, so if you feel like making the switch, go right ahead. Head on over to your local Apple or Verizon store and pick one up. Now here's an interesting question to ask yourself. When was the last time that you bought a physical book? Now, when was the last time that you bought an ebook online through an iPad or a Kindle? Well, if you're buying ebooks a lot more than physical books lately, you're not alone. Sean O'Brien has more.
So this story is actually an update of a story from back in July, where Amazon Kindle eBooks outsold hardcover books for the first time on Amazon's website. Now at that point, the Kindle had only been out for 33 months, whereas they'd been selling hardcover books for 15 years. So it was quite astonishing to see the Kindle ebooks overtake hardcovers in such a short period of time. But less than a year later, we see this story where Kindle ebooks are now outselling paperbacks on Amazon. Now, the numbers are crazy. For every 100 paperbacks, Amazon has sold 115 ebooks, and that's not even including the out of copyright and free ebooks that Amazon distributes. So this is great news for Kindle owners, myself included. And previously, ebooks have been a little bit pricey compared to the paperback version. But because of the convenience, more and more people are buying them, and hopefully the increase in people buying the ebooks will bring down the prices to something a little more reasonable. So it's great to see.
Now, the iPhone coming to Verizon wasn't the only announcement that Apple had for us in the past month. You might recall that a while back we covered Apple's preview of OS X Lion, the next generation of Mac OS X. Now, one of the features that they teased in that presentation was the Mac App Store, essentially a desktop version of the iPhone App Store. Now, they had told us that we would be getting the App Store in the next few months, and in the past few weeks, they made good on their promise, pushing out version 10.6.6 of OS X, which carries with it the Mac App Store. Now, at launch, the App Store has well over 1,000 applications to choose from. Some are free and some are paid for, just like the iPhone App Store. We're seeing a lot of desktop versions of iPhone and iPad apps, but we're also seeing a lot of our favorite desktop applications. Specifically, we're getting Apple's iLife suite, their iWork suite, as well as a few of their pro apps like Aperture, their professional photo management system. There are a lot of really great apps on there that I would highly recommend you check out, and there are also quite a few full games such as Call of Duty Modern Warfare, Civilization, and Borderlands, a couple of games that normally we've only seen either in disc form or on a gaming platform like Steam, the online game download service. It's a very cool feature that they've pushed out. I'm personally thrilled about it. Now, you will need to have Snow Leopard, version 10.6 of Apple's macOS 10 operating system installed if you want to get it, because you need to be running 10.6.6 or later. But if you happen to be upgrading to the latest version of the OS, go ahead and download the App Store and get downloading apps. Now, when you think of competition, you probably think of athletes, but not necessarily hackers. Well, Google's organizing a competition that's perfect for anyone willing to flex their digital muscles. Sean O'Brien has more.
If there's one thing security enthusiasts love about Google Chrome's web browser, is its unique sandboxing feature that sets it apart from other browsers. Google's actually willing to pay $20,000 to anyone who can crack the Google Sandbox on the first day of the Pwn2Own competition coming up. If no one's able to crack it on the first day, they're actually going to open it up to a second and third day, where hackers will be able to use any of the Google code as well as any kind of theme or extension or otherwise add-on to Google Chrome, but not necessarily written by Google themselves. Personally, I love to see competitions like this. Everyone wins in the end. Google wins because they don't have a malicious hacker exploiting their bugs and security holes. The hacker wins because he obviously gets the $20,000. And the end user wins because they come out knowing that the browser will be more secure and more reliable in the end. So I really look forward to see the results, and I'll be curious to see if anyone's able to crack it on the first day of the competition.
And our last story for the day is great news for anyone who enjoys a cup of coffee. Now, you might remember that back in late 2009, Starbucks came out with a program that allowed people to download an app for their iPhone and use that app to pay for their coffee at Starbucks. Now, unfortunately, that was only a feature that was in just a handful of Starbucks locations. But they announced last week that they are going to be spreading that program to over 6,800 of their stores all across the U.S. Now, the way this system works is much like their regular Starbucks card, which is a regular credit card that you fill up with a certain amount of money online, and then you can just swipe that at a Starbucks store, and that pays for your coffee. This is the same thing, except that instead of a credit card, you simply sign into their app on your iPhone or BlackBerry. Simply show the iPhone or BlackBerry to the person at Starbucks, they scan the barcode, and your account is automatically credited. This is one less thing to carry around, and it should make it very easy to pay for your coffee from now on. This is very interesting, and I think a lot of payment systems are going to go this way, integrating more into our phones rather than our wallets. And that's all the news we've got for you today. I want to thank you oh so much for tuning in and watching. Be sure to check out our website at www.harwoodpodcast.com for links to all the various stories we talked about today. And by the way, be sure to friend us up on Facebook at facebook.com/HarwoodPodcast. You'll get inside sneak peeks at the network and alerts every time we put out a new show. And also, of course, if you have any questions or comments for me about the show, suggestions for stories that we should cover in the future maybe, you can send me an email at cameron@harwoodpodcast.com. I'll catch you guys later. Until then, please geek responsibly.